Ugh, that was a weird position that you had to get in, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. So, it's been a long time, but hey, Barbara's here in another video. Yay! And, man, it's been quite a while since we've been able to do a video like this together, hasn't it?
Yeah, the last series of videos I was right. It was a month ago.
Yeah. There's going to be a whole slew of other ones you're going to be seeing pretty soon, so,
Yeah.
but...
I'm trying to get it so that he can do one every week. Like, it doesn't matter if we sit and film them one night, just as long as he has at least a video every week. Mm-hmm. And it will come out on Sundays. Mm-hmm. So, I'm kind of in charge of the scheduling, and our schedules have been off quite a bit lately.
I explained this in another video, but we've been going through a serious move, and it's just been complete chaos.
Mm-hmm. So, pass me my book.
Yeah. Little pink frilly book. How should we kick this off?
Well, the review that we're doing today is of the movie Joker.
Yeah, the big, shocking, controversial movie.
And before we even get started on that, he's going to say his opinion, and then I'm going to say mine. Bear in mind, I am a very, very harsh critic of this movie, just simply because it's an origin story of an iconic character. I am a harsh critic when it comes to Batman, Flash,
all that good stuff.
All of those movies, because I grew up on those and I love them so much, and I love the old comics and I love the old cartoon versions. I'm a very harsh critic when it comes to turning... That's my rabbit. Ignore her. I'm gonna try. I'm a very harsh critic when it comes to anything like that, so...
Because you have a passionate love for it.
Yes.
It's like, you know, which...
I may be a yarn maker, which explains the spinning wheel that you guys have been seeing in recent videos of his.
Yay!
And I'm a crocheter, but I am a nerd. The nerd comes out.
Yeah. Hey, that's good. That's healthy. Meanwhile, I'm kind of more lenient when it comes to that kind of stuff, because I do like a lot of, comic book kind of stuff and comic book movies. Like,
Move closer. You're a little out of frame. There you go.
But, I like a lot of that stuff too. One of my all-time favorite movies is Unbreakable, which is a film that is all about the mythology of comics and why they're so important.
Never seen it.
You'd love it. It's a movie that basically says comics are one of the most important things we can have in our entire lives. Superheroes are real. To me, that's a film that's very much about how, they're real. That's the only movie I can watch, and it gets me to believe in the existence.
If that's what that movie's about, then I would totally relate to that, because I feel very strongly about the comic book characters. And when it comes to a movie like The Joker, yes, I understand. I got a little bit of bullshit from people leaving the theaters because I was not totally thrilled with The Joker.
It's a frustrating movie because, the thing is that I'm, one of the things that's interesting when people adapt, characters and try to do something different each time, it's it can be great because it's you see the character from a different perspective you might not have seen before.
And I get it. I 100% get it. It's an origin story. And I 100% get it. The Joker's story was never fully clear in the first place. So there's a million different ways they could have taken it.
Mm-hmm.
They could have taken it one way, they could have taken it the other. They could have done so many different things with it, and they did it this way.
And it's one of the things where it's you see it on paper and you think to yourself,
this is good.
This is a good escalation of events.
But
and well, actually, should we kind of... Should I go first, or should you go first, or what?
I think we're pretty much just going to bounce off of each other.
Okay, because this is one of those movies where it's for me, I'm also kind of more, like more obsessed with kind of the nuts and bolts kind of like in regards to films.
He looks a lot towards the artistic view, the styling, the music, the clothing.
Yeah.
And the overall actors.
Yeah.
I do too. But again, I'm a very harsh critic when it comes to an iconic character like the Joker.
Me, I'm kind of more lenient where it's like I'm just kind of like, do whatever the fuck you need, do whatever the hell you need to do. It's just kind of like, just get me interested. Yeah. And the frustrating thing about this movie is that it's like, there's a lot of decisions where it's like, it feels like, like, I get what they're going for with this, because it looks fantastic.
Ignore her.
I'll try to. That rabbit makes a lot of noise.
Yeah,
anyway.
She just pooped in her water.
Again? Oh, Christ. Anyway, this is a frustrating movie to watch because it's like, it's one of those movies where it's like, you can tell that the people behind it wanted to do something different. They wanted to really make a unique comic book film that stood out from a lot of them. And, it's like you have a really distinct visual style this thing has, a really haunting cello-based score, great performances across the board, especially from Joaquin Phoenix as Arthur Fleck / Joker, where it's like, Phoenix is one of those guys where it's like, no matter what the movie is, he completely commits to whatever role it is. And he is a really flexible actor. Like, you can see, like, he was in a movie a couple of years called Her, where he played a loner who falls in love with his own computer. And it's like, from what I understand, it's like one of the most romantic movies of the decade. And then another film, a comedy he was in called Inherent Vice, where he played a stoner detective, a bumbling one at that too, who's also actually a guy who knows what he's doing. He shows such tremendous, depth and, like, commitment to his roles. Yeah, and he brings that here.
And unlike him, I'm not familiar with every actor or actress. Like, I'll watch a movie and I'll be like, oh, I recognize her from this movie or that movie, but I won't actually know her name.
His or whatever.
There are very few actors and actresses where I will actually know their name because I don't care. As long as the performance is good and they live up to my expectations, I'm fine with whoever the hell is in whatever role. But this guy, Joaquin Phoenix...
Yeah.
Oh boy, does he commit to that
role. Oh man, the things he does in this movie.
He got so skinny. I mean, apparently he didn't want to get that skinny.
Yeah,
but the director wanted him to. This is what he kept telling me at the movie as we were leaving.
Yeah.
And I can see why the director wanted him to get that skinny, because it adds more character to the Joker to show exactly how powerless he was in the beginning of the movie, all the way going towards the end, I should say.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's kind of like, you understand Phoenix's perspective, because it's like, damn, man.
That's dangerously skinny.
I know.
I mean, you guys see me, I've got belly rolls.
You see his
I'm a chunky
ribcage.
person. I cannot picture myself or anyone else so skinny that they are literally, you push them the wrong way, they are going to break a bone.
Yeah.
That's how skinny he was.
Yeah.
I hope to God that he went to a buffet after that.
I hope that he went to a Chinese buffet at that.
Oh, yes. The Chinese will fill you up. God, Joaquin Phoenix, go to a Chinese buffet. I hope you did after that performance, because you were that skinny. You were so skinny that you were going to die. I was so scared when... Does he do his own stunts?
I don't... it wouldn't surprise me if he...
If he does, you should fear for your life if you get that skinny again for another performance. I mean, oh my God.
Or what about that laugh he does in the movie?
The laugh I love.
Like, throughout the film, his character, Arthur Fleck, he suffers from this, like, laughing disorder where it's like, he can't help himself. When he
Yes.
gets nervous or upset, he just starts hysterically laughing.
Yes, and that's actually a very unique and cool laugh.
I don't know if it's
like.
actually based off of a real
I don't
disease
care.
or not.
He adds it in a way that it's entertaining and
Disturbing to watch and
yes,
awkward.
and you can understand. Okay, so in this movie, this person who's supposed to become the Joker starts off as this
wannabe clown and comedian and
with a defect that makes him very unique.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry if I'm facing this way, very small space.
Plus, she's distracted by the rabbit.
No.
Oh.
Table. There's a table in front of us.
It doesn't look like it, but there is.
Yeah. But, don't let my criticism of the overall movie deter you away from the fact that I enjoyed it, because I did.
There is good stuff about this movie.
I loved how he played it. I loved how he played the role. I loved how, even though it was an extremely slow movie.
My God, I've seen films that run over 3 hours that go by quicker than this
It went by
did.
very, very detailed, very
Which is
precise.
Which is good, but it's like...
It could have moved a lot faster. That was my main problem.
Like, when I took you to see Midsommar a
that
couple
moved
months back...
faster. That was up, down, up, down, up, down, all throughout the entire thing. But this, it moves slow, somewhat up, but not much.
Yeah.
And
even at the ending where everything gets like violent and crazy, it still suffers from that. Like,
but I do love the movie to an extent. They could have done a lot more, in my opinion, at the end. Or there's a very specific scene at the end that they do where
should we put up like a little spoiler warning, or do you think what happens in the last
yes,
scene is
spoiler right here, right now.
If you just want our quick opinion before we really get into spoiler detail, because we're going to be discussing a lot of the plot of this thing.
Yes,
it's
unfortunately review videos of movies do have spoilers, so do not watch any of the reviews unless you want spoilers.
But, you know, like just like a quick little rundown of our thoughts. This is a ambitious but really frustrating take on the character.
Yes.
But I'd be game to see Phoenix do it again.
Yes, in a part 2.
Yeah.
If they put a part 2 on this movie, I will be a lot happier, because this movie does not show enough of the Joker, in my opinion. I mean, the end scene is him walking down the hall with bloody footprints.
Implying that he killed his caseworker from the beginning of the film.
Yep, in handcuffs. He's in handcuffs. And then he walks one way, then runs the other way, and an orderly chases him, and then all of a sudden the orderly's running, and he's out of his handcuffs chasing the orderly. If they had put that scene, I'm stumbling. Quick clip of that scene at the very beginning, you would have had something to work with. You would have been like, okay, I have this to look forward to. When does that come into the movie?
Mm-hmm.
Then you're more anxious to see the end and to see what else happens. I love that they put it at the end, like that kind of a scene, but they could have done a lot more. After that scene, they could have done blood and orderlies dead in the hallways with everybody escaping.
And him doing a little dance out of
his dance. Dance that he puts into the movie, his own spin.
He does a lot of dancing in this movie, which has become something of a meme.
That I want to believe is Joaquin Phoenix's spin on the Joker.
That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Which, that's great. What was the other Joker? The one that I really like.
Heath Ledger?
Yes, Heath Ledger. He does his spin. Why so serious? No one ever will live up to that Joker, in my opinion. Totally in my opinion. But Joaquin Phoenix does do a very good job of his spin of
He,
the Joker,
you know, he makes
and
it.
the director's spin.
He makes it entirely his own. Like, you know, you can't say he's trying to do a riff on anyone else. Like,
I
it's
know.
just, it's like you
Like,
can tell
they're both right up here.
Yeah, and that's
Heath Ledger and Joaquin Phoenix with the Joker.
In fact, you know, one of my favorite critics, Mark Kermode, when he reviewed the movie, he was actually very positive towards the film overall. One of the things he said was that at the end of his review, he said, you know, like, I remember when I saw The Dark Knight and I kind of felt like, you know, like, this is it, no one else can do the Joker anymore. But after watching this film, he felt like, well, I stand corrected. Somebody can do the Joker again on screen.
And that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah.
I do hold Heath Ledger up very high.
Mm-hmm.
His makeup, his style on the Joker was phenomenal.
It is iconic. It's the thing that earned him his Oscar posthumously, might I add.
Yes. But Joaquin Phoenix, he does his own spin to the point where that's phenomenal as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, between those two, I don't think anyone else can play the Joker. I think those two are the only ones that can play their own spin of the Joker and succeed.
Even the guy who voiced him in a lot of cartoons and video games, Mark Hamill, who is also kind of regarded as like an iconic Joker in his own right.
Yes, because he was the voice.
Yeah, even he went to I forget if it was on Twitter or Instagram or something. He gave such a major congratulations to Joaquin Phoenix on this. Like, you did it, man. You did it.
Yes. See, even the original voice of the Joker...
highly loved.
Yes, and I did too. The only thing I wish they had done was, one, move it faster and added more.
Like, this is a movie that's gotten into so much controversy because apparently people were afraid that it was going to cause mass shootings or if it was...
Wouldn't have any of the Batman sequels or any of the
superhero movie or any movie about a violent individual cause something like that.
I know.
It's so stupid.
If people use movies as an excuse to go shoot kids or anybody, you people are full of fucking shit.
I know. It's like the same excuse people do for video games and anything else or like.
Well.
Hey, no, do not. Look, you got a country like Japan that is very centered around video games, or Korea.
True. There are some video games that I'm very iffy on that subject, but he does have a point. But I am still pretty iffy on some.
Anyway,
so
we'll avoid that topic.
Completely different.
But anyway, it's like, you know, it's like, or how like in like the 80s, some parents were afraid that, you know, metal was, you know, like making kids turn into Satan worshippers or something like that. And it's like
then times when they thought rock would do that.
It's always some kind of dumb scapegoat or something. So it's so for the Joker
quit it, people.
So for this Joker movie to get wrapped up and it's like, oh, come the fuck on. Especially that
I know.
Like this is you know, this movie's got an R rating behind it and there are scenes of violence in it. But
this is a PG-13 movie at best.
Like, The Dark Knight was PG-13. That's a way more violent movie than the stuff that happens in this.
That should have been rated R, not PG-13, because compared to The Joker, The Dark Knight is an R-rated movie, and The Joker is a PG-13, so switch it up.
Like The Dark Knight, if it had blood in it, instant R rating. But there's no blood in it, so that means it can get away with being as violent as it is.
I know, but that's...
Isn't that messed up?
The movie The Joker, it doesn't show enough violence for it to be rated R.
There is that murder he does of, like, his co-workers, which is pretty nasty. You know, he stabs him in the eye and beats his head in.
Yeah, he stabs the guy in the neck, then the eye, then beats his head in. But then lets the midget, the one that was the only person that was nice to him, let him go.
His name was Gary, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Like, he kissed him on the head and let him go.
Like, he was like, you were nice to me, so...
Yeah, he was the only one that was ever nice to him in the movie.
Because this is a movie where, before he becomes a Joker, he's a chew toy.
But if you think about it, the midget that he lets go, that's a midget. Everybody's gonna be mean to him, too. So... the Joker, in the sense, not only was nice to him and he was nice to him, like, they were both chew toys.
Yeah.
It didn't show it much for the little guy. And I'm sorry if the word midget upsets anybody. I don't mean it in a bad way. I mean, I think they're cute. They're little people. They're real people. They're just compact. So they can be cute.
Anyway, make sure to get yourself out of this hole.
I know. I'm digging myself in a hole, but I think they're cute.
Anyways, you were saying.
They're both essentially chew toys for the world. But they don't necessarily show him as a chew toy. They show Joaquin Phoenix, aka Joker, as
a chew toy. Because it's like throughout this whole movie, like, it's just like, you know, like, the opening scene has him getting his, like, little sign twirling thing getting taken by some street thugs, and then they beat the hell out of him.
Yeah, some 13-year-olds, and then them kicking the crap out of him. But then that scene comes full circle.
Yeah, when later on, what kicks off the events of the movie is that he's like, you know, it's like he's on a subway station after he gets fired after an incident that happens at a hospital where, you know, like a friend of his at work gives him a gun for protection in the city.
Yeah, the one he killed.
Yeah. He gives him a gun for protection, and it's like, you know, he has it on him at all times, and, you know, and it's like he's at like a children's hospital, you know, doing a little thing, and everyone's happy.
And then he hops once, and it comes out from his pant leg.
And we both just like, we were like, oh
no! Worst timing for that thing to come out. But it goes to show, and the creativity, number one, and two, what the boss says. Well, actually, wasn't it the cops that told him that the co-worker said that he was trying to get the gun out of the guy?
It was his boss. And,
right.
And the coworkers, like, you know, it's like they were like, you know, like, yeah, he said to me that you were trying to get the gun from him, like,
and that gives him a whole what moment where he realizes that one person, that one coworker that he thought was his friend, isn't, and it'll go to show you that people will stab you in the back because they want you out of the way, or they want to use you as a chew toy.
Yeah,
like he was.
There's just like, you know, we were telling my mom about this, and she was just like, I don't want to see this. Like, life's miserable enough. I don't want to see 2 hours of some guy getting raked over the coals for 2 hours. Which, you know, for me, like, I've seen other films that are kind of like that, but, you know, like, even this was just kind of like, what the hell? This is like
too slow.
Yeah, like
too slow, and at the very end, they don't show enough of the Joker.
Yeah, but anyway, let's get to the incident that actually kicks off the events of the movie,
which is the subway murders.
Yeah, where, you know, it's like after he gets fired, and, you know, he's upset and in hysterics and doing this whole these scumbag Wayne Enterprise employees come in, and, you know, they harass this one girl.
I know, throwing food at her and everything, calling her, what, a slut?
Yeah.
Or a bitch, or all of that.
Yeah. And then after she leaves, they turn their attention to him because, you know, he's in clown makeup.
He tries to reach for one of his cards that lets them know, hey, I have a medical condition. And they give him shit and pull him up and start beating him.
And then when he gets the, you know, this time he actually has something to defend himself, which is the gun. He kills two of them. Just whips it right out. Bang, bang, bang.
When he's on the ground. It's not until after he's beat up quite a bit and then on the ground, and he feels, I'm gonna die here if I don't do this. And that kicks it off. And then after a while, that's when he kills his mother.
Which, it turns out, there's actually a really interesting plot that kind of goes nowhere. Like, it's like, what happens is that, you know, like, his mom keeps babbling about how
she used to work for Wayne Enterprises.
Well, not just Wayne Enterprises, Thomas Wayne himself.
Yes.
Who's running for mayor in the movie, because it's like, Gotham's just been going through this, like, great big, you know, like, this, like, economic depression and just like crime wave and like there are all these like there's a trash strike going on.
Yeah, and she keeps sending Thomas Wayne letter after letter after letter saying, and he intercepts one of them saying, "Your son and I."
Yeah, and it's like it's like Arthur gets this idea like wait a minute, am I related to the Waynes?
Is Thomas Wayne really my dad?
Yeah.
And then he actually finds a way to actually get in front of him and talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he finds out that no, your mom is just delusional and she adopted you.
And she abused you too, and you repressed a lot of it.
But he didn't figure all that out until he actually went to
Arkham Asylum to get some documents on his mom.
Yeah. And they won't hand him over, so he has to steal them.
Yeah.
But they don't really say why she was in Arkham.
They kind of do.
They kind of do, but not really. They just said that she was insane.
Yeah.
And he had also been in an insane asylum, but they don't say.
They don't go into detail about that. Like, it's like, I want to know why he was in there. Was it because of something he did, or was it just because of his mental condition?
I'm thinking it's more along the lines of the abuse that his mom put him through.
Yeah.
And it made him go insane a little bit, and they wanted to tame it before he could
really
function.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's what it is, but they don't really say.
They don't go into detail. Like, it's like, this is really interesting psychological stuff you're doing here.
I know.
Go into more detail with it. This is interesting.
I know.
It's like, it would actually, I think it would actually benefit the pacing more, because it gives us more feel of the character.
Yeah.
But it's like, that detail isn't there.
No, it's like a key piece of information.
That is explained, but not enough.
Very vague.
Yeah.
Key piece of information.
I'm all for ambiguity, but it's like sometimes like you need to explain some stuff.
And she has like a stroke and she's in the hospital, and when he's finding out all of this, and then he smothers her to death.
Yeah. And he says the one of the famous lines from the movie, I used to think as my life as a tragedy.
Speak up a little bit.
Sorry, I was trying to do it like the way he does it. He says like...
In a hushed tone, he says...
I used to think of my life as a tragedy, but now I realize it's just a fucking comedy.
And then, of course, after that scene, he ends up killing the coworker that gave him the gun.
Mm-hmm.
And letting the little guy go.
Yeah. And then there's that subplot with him getting a girlfriend. That girl Sophie
that's right.
Dermond.
We completely forgot about that.
Which is a weird subplot that, I get how it's supposed to, illustrate
his mind.
Yeah, but it's like you kind of wish it was a little bit more developed there too.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that was like properly developed, or?
Didn't you tell me that they were thinking of making it like an actual thing, that he did date her and then it turned out it was only out of pity?
Yeah.
I think they should have gone with that angle, because it would have made a little more sense. As to, one, he's a chew toy. Two, so he thought she was his when it turned out it wasn't. But I can actually see also why they went with this angle. They wanted him to imagine the actual relationship just from a passing encounter.
Yeah.
On the elevator.
He also has like similar daydreams. Like one of his big daydreams is being on the Murray Franklin show.
Oh God.
Where Robert De Niro shows up in a movie where it looks like he's actually paying attention to what he's doing now. Hooray! I like seeing Robert De Niro actually give a shit again. And
this is after he kills his coworker. He's got face paint. He dyed his hair green. And he asks to be introduced as the Joker.
Yeah. When I go on the show, can you introduce me as Joker? And they're like,
why?
Okay.
Because what happened before this
was that when Arthur was at, a comedy show, like he was trying to do stand-up, but because of how awkward he is.
And they filmed it, and he got a hold of the film. And they kept replaying and replaying and replaying a very specific scene.
Yeah, where he just looks like a goofball, and it's like, he's just like, you could say that one again, pal, and it's like, we do get like this like brief sense where it's like Murray doesn't come off as like a complete asshole behind the scenes, and he does express shock as to like the stuff that's going on in Gotham.
Yes.
But at the same time,
he's a real ass.
Yeah.
And then you see it when he comes on to the show. He's sitting there, he's looking like,
He also gives a big smooch to that psychologist that was
I
there.
Like he does his dance going through. Yeah, and then he gives the doctor a big kiss before sitting down, and then he's sitting there like,
Hi there.
Hi. Yeah, I'm here. But, and then things start going, and he admits to the subway murders.
Yeah.
And then you see Murray just going into...
What the hell is...
What? You're admitting on live TV you killed these 3 people.
Yes, I did. Because why should, and he actually makes an interesting point that almost kind of correlates to something that, the Joker said in The Dark Knight,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, he mentions a point where it's like, like some, like random person gets stomped on, nobody cares, but when 3 Wayne Enterprises employees get killed, we're all supposed to treat it like it's some horrible thing. Which kind of connects to something like what the Joker said, like, if I announce that, like, I'm going to blow up a truckload of soldiers, or I'm going to do this, nobody panics because that's all part of the plan. But if I kill one little mayor, then everyone loses their minds.
That's actually pretty accurate when it comes to
Yeah.
the movie.
Yeah.
Because they emphasize that point. Nobody cared when he was being beat up in an alley. They were passing by.
Yeah.
Just while these 3 little teenagers, 13-year-olds,
It actually wasn't 3, it was like a bunch of them. Like, it was around 5 to 6 of them.
No, it was 3.
You sure? You sure you don't have that confused with the Wayne employees?
No, I'm sure it was 3, maybe 4.
I think 4, because there was that one that smacked him with a sign.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. So 4 kids, roughly. They're beating the shit out of him after one of them hits him with the sign that they stole. And you can see people are just passing by, not giving a crap. But then you're on the subway. Nobody around. That lady that was being harassed leaves that cart, goes into another one, and they start beating the shit out of him, and he shoots them. One gets away almost.
He kills him.
Oh yeah, he unloads on that one.
Yeah, it's almost kind of borderline cold blood, like, like...
That, by the time he got to the 3rd one, that was cold blood.
The other 2 were justified.
Yes, but then again, that one was also justified because he was also thinking, I gotta kill this person because...
They could spin their own story.
No, they'll rat me out, I'll get thrown in jail, and I'll die there.
Even though I was defending myself in self-defense, but...
Right. So, I can understand the kill shot, but after the kill shot, he unloaded. Then it became cold-blooded murder. But then people started caring. No one was around to see it. And somebody finds them, and all of a sudden, the entire world cares.
Yeah. Because Thomas Wayne said so, which, by the way, this movie has a really unsympathetic depiction of Thomas Wayne. Like, a lot of adaptations of Batman typically show him as, like, as this great father and benevolent
Philanthropist.
Thank you. I don't know why I'm good at saying big words, but for some reason...
That's fine. I screw up all the time.
But it's like, this movie has such an unsympathetic depiction of him.
I know. Thomas Wayne is supposed to be very sympathetic.
I actually like the fact that they gave him an unsympathetic depiction. Because it's like, it's one of the things that makes this kind of stand out from other Batman adaptations.
It goes to show... They show another side of power. Where, to the world, they can seem like... they care. But behind closed doors,
They don't care.
no.
Yeah.
I love that they showed that in this because it gives Thomas Wayne a new
Angle.
look.
From what I understand, this was actually like, it's like another Batman adaptation actually did something similar. A video game that was by a studio called Telltale. They did their own Batman thing.
I'm not a video gamer.
But
kind of am, not really.
But they did their like their own spin on Batman. That's something that they also kind of did, going like, hey, maybe the Batman's parents weren't exactly the nice people as Bruce might have remembered they are. And,
yeah, I love that spin.
Yeah.
And Thomas Wayne outright threatens the Joker.
Yeah.
When he's Arthur Fleck.
Yeah.
Loved that.
Yeah, which we should get back to the Murray thing that we kind of trailed off on.
Yeah, sorry,
There's a lot of things to discuss about this movie.
And he did bring up a good part of it that was in that one scene with Murray, which you gotta admit, related.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
But it's like during that whole scene, like they're kind of getting into like a argument of kind of who's on the more moral high ground here, Arthur or Murray, or what Murray's comments are, and et cetera, and eventually it just reaches that boiling point where Arthur is like, to quote a really dumb meme that unfortunately almost kind of got sort of a mild reference in this movie, that how much society. If you look up memes of like, we live in a society, you'll understand the joke. Or maybe you don't want to, because I've encountered dumb things to come out of that meme. It's like, he goes on this rant about how much like society has just kind of abandoned him, and how it, like everything's just like, like there's no one cares, no one gives a crap. And he's kind of going like, well, it's like it sounds like you're just putting all the blame on everyone else, and you're not realizing your own goddamn faults in the first place. And eventually Arthur has it, and this is almost kind of like the moment where he truly becomes the Joker, where he whips out the gun
after calling Murray out.
Yeah, and he whips out the gun, blows his head out,
and unloads a couple
more. Yeah.
Cold-blooded murder right on screen.
Yeah, right on, all for public television to see. And
but he's in Joker form. His face is painted, his hair's done, his outfit is superb.
Yeah.
And he actually does make some very good points as the Joker.
But both characters actually make good points.
They do. Mm-hmm. But I actually think the Joker in that one scene made the more
sense.
Yes, the most sense. Because
even though at that point he had killed several people. Like, it's kind of weird, because it's like, on one hand, like the victims he did kill did deserve it.
Yes, but how society abandons people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, someone could shoot me tomorrow or tonight, and the only people that would care is him and my family. No one of higher power would care.
Mm-hmm.
But you go and shoot a mayor or a president or something like that, and all of a sudden the entire country, the entire world cares.
Mm-hmm.
Society does naturally doesn't care about a lot of us.
Mm-hmm.
So he does make a very good point right there before calling Murray out.
And as a result of him killing Murray, it just causes, like, at this point Gotham's at its boiling point with the
place is on fire.
It becomes almost exactly what the Joker wanted in The Dark Knight to turn Gotham into. Like, this Joker was able to pull off what that Joker did, and this Joker isn't even some kind of mastermind or anything. He just kind of did it.
He's a newbie.
I know.
He's a newbie, and he turns Gotham into a pit of despair
and fire and. Like, just like
chaos.
And it's like at the end, like he's seen in the back of a police car just kind of watching everything go down, and it's like
smiling,
and the cops are just like, see what the hell you've done. See, and he's like, I know, isn't it beautiful?
And then
Yeah, a hospital
Right in-
truck comes out of nowhere, and it's like they're pulling him out, like, you know, the clown mob's pulling him out of it.
They're and so gentle, like picking up a baby for the first
I
time.
know!
They're that gentle.
I know!
This rough, tough gang of masked clowns has the biggest guy gently
Yeah!
lift his head and then lift him out of the car.
And you know, it's like when he's
and
starting
they gently lay him on top of the cop car.
and when he's like starting to regain consciousness, the entire crowd's yelling at him, "Get up! Get up! Get up! Get up! Get up! Get up!" And it's like when he does, he's like, you know, he just sees all these.
He's a little out of it because he just hit his head because of the crash.
Yeah, and he's all covered in blood.
I know.
And it's like he sees all these people cheering him on, and he's just like, "They love me. I matter." And then, you know, he takes the blood, and
He literally sticks his fingers in his bloody mouth, gets them all bloody, and
yeah. It's like it's, you know,
and then does his little
dance.
Yeah. And everything. And I like the way he moves when he does it. It's so unique.
Yeah, which, you know, it's like
It's like he's trying to be delicate and elegant at the same time, and it's a little creepy at the same time.
Well, you know, I remember the first time he did it, like that scene in the bathroom. You know, it's like there's like a part of me that thinks to myself, like, you know, it's like on one hand my mind's kind of going like, this is a little pretentious, but on the other hand, this is kind of cool. Like, and of course, you know, the big iconic staircase scene, which, you know, like,
yes. I still have to find the video where someone reenacted that scene and fell on their butt for him. But
and it's all set to friggin' Gary Glitter's Rock and Roll Part 2, which, you know, like, you know, it's like some people kind of saw that, you know, choosing that song as like kind of like a bit of like provocation, because, you know, if you look up some stuff about Gary Glitter, he was like a pedophile and shit. Like, and it's like some people are kind of thinking, did you intentionally do that just so people would look it up and realize who you chose or something? But at the same time, I won't lie, I did really like that scene of him dancing down the stairs. In fact, you know, it's like something weird that they do is that they actually cut the middle of the song from that song to like the orchestra, you know, to the cello score, which I thought was a little awkward. Like, I kind of wish they let the song fully play out, and then when the cops come in, they would switch back to the score, which they kind of did, but they just, like, it played a little too early.
Yeah, it did. I'm sorry for me yawning. It's
10
pitch
o'clock.
Black. It's 10 o'clock already? Oh, God. It's pitch dark out, and my body's letting me know that.
Another thing, speaking of the music, I loved a lot of the music in this movie. Like,
oh, God. The music for this movie was picked out perfect.
Well, not just that, but also the cello-based score that they played for a lot of it.
I liked a lot of the timing on the music.
Oh, yeah.
Like, certain songs really fit the scene that they were put in.
Yeah, good needle drops.
And the costumes, I loved them.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot that I loved about this movie, but the only two major things,
It's
like I said,
those two things that...
the speed, and they could have added more. At the end, they could have added more.
They could have added more in general. Like,
yes.
It's like, it's so frustrating, because it's like, there are so many good things about this movie, but there are these two giant major flaws in it that just, like, weigh it down, and it's so frustrating.
In my opinion, I don't care if they added a lot more at the beginning or anything like that. If they had added more as to the ending, where he's really coming out as the Joker, I would have been satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
I would not have given a crap about the running time and how slow it went.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been satisfied with the movie 100%. But because it's too slow and they didn't add enough, I'm at 99%, maybe 98% because of that.
Like, it's like, for me, like, you know, on my Letterboxd profile, I gave it a 3 out of 5, because it's like, to me, those problems with it are just so major for me. Like,
I would definitely give it a 3 out of 5 because of the same reason, the timing, and there wasn't enough.
Yeah.
If the timing was a little better, but they didn't add enough, it would have gotten a 4 out of 5.
Yeah,
for me.
if they fixed those two problems, I would have rated this movie much more higher than I do.
Same.
And you know, it's like it also kind of. I also said this to her, to my Lovey-kins right here, after we came out of the movie. But it's like I was kind of thinking, you know, how so many people were making a big deal out of how shocking, how it was like being in the mind of a disturbed person, yada yada yada. I was kind of thinking to myself, man, I wonder how these people would react to something like the house that Jack built.
That thing's a little more twisted than this.
Little more twisted. That's a movie that has the main character turn a child into his own personal taxidermy puppet.
Okay. Bad wording on my part.
or what about what he does to that poor woman's breasts?
But I would have liked to see more of the mind of a twisted person, someone who had actually been in Arkham. I would have liked to see them go a little deeper. That's why I said at the end they could have shown more of him coming out as the Joker. Because when you see him chasing the orderly at the end, you think, oh my god, he's finally in the role of the Joker. He's got the hang of his own brain.
Mm-hmm.
He's got the hang of his own life.
It's like even before that bit, when he's being interviewed by his caseworker last time. You see
it.
Like, he's just kind of he's actually genuinely chuckling for the first time in the whole movie. Like, it's not his awkward laughter. He actually looks legit.
Real.
He actually looks legitimately happy over all of the things he's done.
But then you see the craziness of the Joker after that scene with the bloody footprints and the chasing the orderly. Mm-hmm. I wanted to see more of that. That is the Joker I want to see.
Also,
so that's why I'm saying a part 2 to the origin story would be great.
Originally, Phoenix, you know, it's like the reason why he signed on to this was because he didn't want to get roped up in like some of these big comic book, like he was interested in doing a comic book movie, but he didn't want to get roped up in a big multi-contract picture kind of thing, because it's like he's one of those guys who wants to, you know, it's like if you see like the kind of amount of roles he takes.
Yeah, but
he goes for a lot of the time he actually goes for more art house projects than he does these kind of movies.
I'm saying Joaquin Phoenix, do a part 2. I know you don't want to, but do it.
But here's the interesting thing: because of the success of the movie, he's showing a little bit of interest now. Oh,
I didn't know that. See, some of this stuff that he's telling me, I find out now.
Yeah, like how I mentioned to her how, as this movie was being made, the script was being rewritten on set. It kind of shows.
Then I understood why I was a little frustrated with the timing and all of that, because it kept changing, apparently. But Joaquin Phoenix, if you watch this video, do a part 2.
I will be fully on board, because, you know...
I will too. I actually really want to rewatch the first one, because I was so about it.
I am open to seeing this movie again. Maybe not while it's in theaters, but like when it
comes out on DVD.
When it hits video, I'll be up for watching it again, because it is an interesting movie. Like,
not renting the DVD either, actually owning it.
Yeah.
Because it's
I want to get a Blu-ray because I want to get superior visual quality. You know I'm a stickler for that kind of stuff.
Yes, he is. I want to actually own the DVD. So, I like it. I do.
I like it too. We just wish there was like
more added to it and it went a little faster.
Yeah.
But that's something they could easily fix if they do a part 2.
Yeah.
And then Joaquin Phoenix, number 1, you won't have to get that skinny.
Yeah.
You can show that the Joker's eating.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yes. Hopefully. And we can see a lot more of his personality coming through in a part 2.
Also, another thing,
Please.
But, you know, I mentioned to you this before, but, like, you know, like, there's going to be a new Batman movie coming soon, and Robert Pattinson is going to be playing Batman.
Which, really quick, in Twilight, I did not like his role. He looked handsome. I didn't like the character.
But Pattinson's been doing.
But he is a very good actor.
He's been doing amazing things lately. Like, I showed her The Lost City of Z, where he played like Charlie Hunnam's sidekick.
He's a really good actor.
And
so I'm actually excited to see how he does in Batman. But I'm gonna be a very harsh critic on him, just because of the tragedy that is Twilight. I own Twilight, the books, and some of the movies.
I need to show you some of the other movies Robert Pattinson's been in lately.
It was mostly because my mom bought the movies, and I didn't really want them, but she did it anyways. But I am going to be a harsh critic just because of that, but from hearing his review of The Lighthouse, which I actually really like hearing his reviews of things because he's so in depth and he'll actually make me feel like, okay, I have to see this. And we've actually been seeing a lot of movies together. It's just
we've been so busy, so it's like, but she's told me that this is
for the first time I showed him Fried Green Tomatoes,
and
one of my favorites,
and a slew of other things that I've never seen before. Like, this is the first year I've seen Titanic.
Yeah, a very iconic movie.
I know
that almost the entire world has seen, and he's just seeing it now.
Yeah, and I loved it.
But anyways.
But what I was going to say is that it's like, like Pattinson, he's been doing such like an interesting change in his career lately, and what's a movie I need to show you he was in? I showed you a picture of what he looked like in it, and you had this look on your face like, what the fuck? Good Time, where he plays like a really scuzzy criminal in that. Like, I showed you that picture of him where he's got like the blonde hair and the scruffy look on his face, and he looks like somebody who hasn't bathed in weeks, and you were like, what the?
Yeah.
That's him? And you should hear the New York accent he's got in it, and it's like, but
he's a very handsome actor, and he can fit into a role.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind of glad that Twilight did not ruin his career like it did Taylor Lautner's. Yeah. Oh my God, Taylor, you got fat and disappeared.
Everyone else has been doing good. Kirsten Stewart, Gil Brigham, Anna Kendrick,
I had and still have major problems with her.
I need to show you some of the stuff she's been in.
If she has improved a lot since Twilight,
she has.
It'll be a miracle. Because in that, I had so many problems.
I need to show you Personal Shopper because she's good in it. But anyway, what?
Yeah. Anyway.
Sorry. What I wanted to say was this. It's like, because Pattinson's going to be playing Batman soon, and
we are going to see it.
Of course. And Joaquin Phoenix has expressed interest in doing another Joker movie. I would love to kind of see these two forces of acting kind of clash together if they could ever pull off something like that, because it's like...
What if they did an origin part 2 with both of them?
I don't know if they would do something like that, because it's like with DC... Well, I know what you're saying, but it's like, what's interesting is that DC, like, it's like what they're kind of moving away from is that they're not, they're not as interested in doing an interconnected universe kind of thing. They're more interested in doing more solo kind of movies where it's like, it's just, from the ground up, it's the movie doing its own thing, which... makes for much more interesting comic book movies than trying to make it all part of a seamless universe, because everything starts to feel samey.
I know, but at some point it would be nice to see his version of the Joker meet
Pattinson's Batman, which,
yes,
I'm not gonna lie, that would be great, because these two great actors just kind of duking it out on screen together, which, from what I understand...
But as far as the origin story goes, I want to see him in a part 2. And I want to see more of the Joker and his twisted, sick, demented mind.
But at the same time, that kind of like, it's like there's also a weird empathy his version has, where it's like there's more humanity in it. Like, you understand where he's coming from more than any other version of the character.
Yeah,
but it doesn't undermine his.
I know.
brutality.
I really want to see a part 2 of this because of all of that. It's a new twist. It's a new style.
It doesn't fully work, but it's like...
It works, but at the same time it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's harder to explain that part.
Yeah.
That it works, but it doesn't. But I really want to see more of it.
I mean, who knows? Maybe when we see it on video, it might actually fully click with us on a second viewing. Because it's like,
Yes,
I've-
that's why I want to see it again.
because it's like there's some movies I've watched where I didn't like them at all in the first viewing, but it's like when I saw them a second time around, I was like, oh my god, I was wrong. Like I told you that I hated John Wick when I first saw it, but it's like, yeah, I hated John Wick when I first saw it. Shut up. But when I saw it on TV one time, I was like, oh crap, this is fun. But
Sometimes a second viewing of something really changes your mind. Like,
yeah,
there could have been a movie that I saw years ago and thought, "Ugh, what the heck?"
Mhm.
And then I could see it now and most likely have a different view of it because I'm older.
or maybe you weren't in the right mind space to watch it,
Yes.
or maybe you were watching it on TV and they edited out important plot points to make way for commercials.
They do that a lot. Holy cow! Slow down on the freaking commercials, people. Stop cutting shit out for a commercial. If you have to, stop it, do the commercial, start it right back up where you left off, and leave all the details
or edit out moments because it's not appropriate. In that case, why are you showing something really graphic on TV in the first place? But anyway, so yeah, like Joker, it's a frustrating movie, but at the same time, it's one that I think at least you should at least watch once.
Yes,
And
definitely.
and two other things I want to note. It's interesting that this was directed by a guy who typically does comedies. This was his first
Because
stab
the
at it.
comedy in this is very, very dry.
Yeah, whereas the guy's name is Todd Phillips. He's done stuff like the Hangover movies and Old School and Starsky and Hutch, and his style of comedy is kind of more of like a bro-y frat boy kind of style.
Yeah, so it's a different look on his type of comedy.
Yeah, and the other thing is that this was also a movie that won the Golden Lion at the Vienna Film Festival, a highly prestigious prize. And
Yeah.
I mean, like, what do you think of the fact that it won a top prize of like a major festival like that?
I can see where it would have,
Yeah.
just because it's a whole new take on it,
Mm-hmm.
on such a iconic character.
Mm-hmm.
But there are problems.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. There's problems that could have caused it to go off the rails.
Mm-hmm.
Not in a good way, in a bad way that wouldn't have gotten it where it did.
Mm-hmm.
But I think because of his take on the Joker,
Mm-hmm.
like his style and how empathetic there are in some parts of it,
Mm-hmm.
and the artistic style and the music,
Mm-hmm.
that got it where it is now.
There was one last thing.
It could have been better.
Yeah.
That would have guaranteed the spot,
Mm-hmm.
but it made it.
Do you think there's any chances of this competing in Oscars for this season, or no?
This one, no.
Not even for Phoenix for acting?
For him for acting, yes. For the movie itself, no. If they did an Origin Part 2, he would, and the movie would, if they fixed the speed and added more.
Mm-hmm.
So.
It's like, I do want to point this out, but lately, like last year, like the Academy nominated friggin' like, okay, I gotta tell you something stupid, but apparently recently there was an article saying, Academy voters don't want to watch Joker. Meanwhile, at the same time, these guys gave multiple awards to that Queen biopic that came out last year, Bohemian Rhapsody, which was such a generic movie. Like, it's like, oh, what? This, like, oh, we don't want to watch this, but...
So they want to watch something that's average and mundane and boring. But they don't want to watch something that's out of the box, insane,
It doesn't fully work, but...
It doesn't go with what's original. It goes...
It swings, like, it's like...
It swings both ways.
And it is also kind of a derivative movie because it draws a lot from, like, the films of Martin Scorsese.
It's out of the box.
It's trying to do something different with comic book films, which is like,
It gives a more realistic viewing of the Joker in his life and how he came to be.
Yeah, Academy voters are friggin' weird. I should.
It's truly out of the box. You would not have thought that this would be how you'd view the Joker.
Yeah.
In any form, just based off of the comics, the movies, any games, if there are any.
There's plenty of Batman games.
Yeah, I'm not a gamer.
Yeah.
Just based off of all of those, this is not a view or a way you thought that it would have gone.
Should we probably wrap this up? Cause
Yeah, it's a very long video.
yeah. But anyway, so Joker, it's a frustrating movie, but it's at least worth viewing at least once.
We loved it. Based off of the style.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the music.
It's and Phoenix's performance, but it's like it's just like one of those like.
And for the last time, it could have been better.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot more that they could have done with it. There's so many different spins they could have put in to make it better, but we loved it regardless. To the point where we want to see it again.
Like like it does so many things well, but it does some major things not so well. But it's still worth talking about.
Yes.
Anyway, we should wrap this video up before we continue rambling anymore.
Joaquin Phoenix, do a number 2.
Anyway,
I know I've pushed that.
Yeah. Anyway, we might as well stop this video right now. But anyway, thanks
Bye.
a lot. Have a good one.